Hey, TJ, it's really nice to talk to you today. It's nice to meet you. I'm kind of anxious to hear about your story. I know a little bit about your work background, though. You're a radio guy. You're a DJ. You live your life in what, 12-second increments, or what's the between
Yep.
song time usually?
I've mastered going to the bathroom in about 2.5 minute increments, run in, come back, get back on the air. But yeah, good at back timing, whether it be on the radio or from a 20-second clock on a hockey scoreboard. I've pretty much mastered the math on the clock.
Back timing. I like that. I
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm listening to the radio, just like traditional radio, and you hear a song and it's that leading up to, you can tell a quick little story, but then you get out before the actual lyrics of the song starts. Is that a learned skill as well?
It is a science. Yeah. I remember when I first started in radio, I would practice it because we would put CDs and CD players and we could listen to them in queue. And I knew, okay, well, this one gives me 15 seconds and I'd practice what I was going to say. Then as things got a little more digital and the computers will count down the amount of time before the vocals start, then you just kind of start to wing it and you got to shut up just in time for the vocals to start. So yeah, it's kind of a learned skill, hitting the post.
Hitting the
Running,
post.
running the ramp. Yeah,
That's right. That's inside radio talk.
that's right. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we'll always look at each other and say, am I bleeding? Because I nailed that post.
Love it. So your career started in Fairmont, Minnesota, and then on to Mankato, Minnesota. Those are both towns in southern Minnesota. And you're still in Mankato, right?
I am. Yep.
Okay. And also working for Minnesota State Mankato. You're the PA voice for the football team and men's hockey. Does that about cover the majority of your professional world?
It does. Yep. I do a little bit of track and field once in a while when they need me. And I'm an assistant high school track and field coach too. I coach shot put and discus throwers.
Okay. So you're the field part of track.
I'm the and field guy.
Represent. You're and field. Got it. Got it. So living in the radio world and the PA announcer world a lot, it involves sitting in a chair. There's
Correct.
not a lot of physical movement. And sometimes that can lead to some health issues. And I don't know if that's what drew you to Profile, but I'm sure that plays a role somewhere in there. Tell us just a little bit about why you even started to seek out Profile in the first place.
Well, if I can go all the way back to when I first started in radio down in Fairmont, you if you are in any kind of media business, you may know as well as many others that there's a small percentage of people that get really rich doing this. They just do it because they absolutely love it, right? But sometimes paying the bills is all your pay will get you to.
Yes.
So your credit card ends up being what you're at the grocery store with, or someone drops by the station with free food and you just take it. You're like, I don't know when I'm going to get to eat next. So you just eat it, So things kind of spiraled out of control there. I've been back and forth and back and forth. And then I was working in a situation here in Mankato where I just wasn't, it was sort of a toxic thing. I wasn't gelling with the new management we had, and they didn't have a plan for me. I wanted to kind of see growth and wasn't seeing that. And eventually they let me go. And then I ended up grabbing another job across town with another radio company. And I came over here, and that's when I was able to hook up with Profile. But it wasn't until, after the whole COVID thing happened. We were in the middle of St. Jude Radiothon it was the final day, Friday the 13th, March 2020. And we had about 3 hours left to go in our Radiothon. And the NBA canceled their season. And we were watching it on TV thinking, what is going on? And then you crack your mic and start talking about, a children's hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. And then you turn off your microphone and everybody's like, what's happening? And pretty soon my manager came in and said, do you have the ability to work from home? And I said, yeah, I have studio at home that I do some voiceover stuff and I can produce things at home. And she said, okay, starting Monday, you're going to be doing your show from home. We'll get you login passwords so you can get into the computers here and all of that. And that was when they were talking about the 14-day flatten the curve for COVID-19 and
14 days. Yeah.
Yep. And in my mind, I thought, it's spring break time. I mean, between where I work and my home, it's a 1.5 mile trip. There is a Quick Trip and an MGM liquor. I stopped. I spent hundreds of dollars on liquor and frozen pizzas and thought, it's spring break time. I'm going to go home. I'm going to work from home. It's going to be the best 2 weeks ever. And that's when I kind of realized I needed someone to help me out on the journey to get back into a healthy lifestyle, because I ended up, on a telehealth call with a doctor. Said, I think I'm dying. I can't sleep at night. I don't know if I have COVID. My stomach hurts so bad. And he said, well, first of all, you don't have COVID if your stomach hurts. Second of all, it sounds like acid reflux. What's your diet been like? And I'm like, I'm partying like a rock star almost on a daily basis. So he said, yeah, if I were you, I would try to eat a little more healthy and have a better diet plan, and go to the pharmacy and buy this and this and take it for a couple weeks. And so I did that. I got better. I got a hold of Profile. I got on their plan. It was great to have some guidance along the way to kind of help me and hold me accountable. And that's where the journey began, I think, because I was, as I said, I was in a not real happy work experience. And then I got into a new job that I was really enjoying. But by the time COVID hit and I went home, I was a sloppy mess. I needed to get my life back in order as far as diet and exercise go. Because I had been running quite a bit leading up to that, but then I started to gain weight back. Years ago, I lost like 65 pounds back in when I was in my early 30s. And then
Wow.
I had gained about 45 of that back. And then going for a run now was more painful than anything. And it was something that I really enjoyed. It was a stress reliever, helped me burn the calories so I could eat some pizza and
Yeah.
beer once in a while. It's not a terrible thing, but it was spiraling out of control. So I needed someone to hold me accountable, and Profile did that for me.
Well, I think what happens to a lot of people, and what did happen to a lot of people during the COVID time, is that our routines were changed. Some will not go back. So it's figuring out in this new routine, whether it's working from home or different hours or different job, or my kids are home and distance learning and all of that. It's very easy to go to the frozen food
Right.
section and grab the pizzas and just have them there. And so it's figuring out the new normal and how health works within that. And so now are you back going into the radio station, or are you still working at home?
Yeah, no, I'm back at the radio station. We were allowed, a few of us were allowed to kind of get back into the station a few months into it. And most of our sales staff is still working from home. We have a few on-air people that still work from home. On a daily basis, there's about 5 of us here early in the morning, and that's about it through the day. Occasionally someone comes through, but I found it very nice to be able to come back to work, because I felt like when I was at home, I was working all the time. And being at work is nice because I can leave work at work and then go home.
You can get away from it.
Yes.
When you started, after you went through this in March 2020, and you contact Profile and you kind of lay out, this is what I want or I need, or this is my situation, was it instant, like day one, you start the program and you're like, oh, I'm feeling better? Was it 2 days? Was it 2 weeks? Or when did you first really feel better?
It was a little before, it was just before the week before Labor Day when I decided I was going to do this. And I got on the phone with Profile and I said, we take every year on Labor Day, we take a trip up to see some friends of ours we see about once or twice a year. I can pretty much guarantee you I'm not going to behave this weekend as far as my habits go that I need to change. So can I start on Tuesday after Labor Day? And they said, yes, take this time and then come in on Tuesday and we'll get going. And that's when I went in and they said, you're going to have a day, 2, maybe 3 where you don't feel real great. And then you're going to rebound and you're going to start to feel fantastic. And I said, all right, I'll believe you. And on day 1, I got into the program. I was eating the bars and drinking the shakes and felt fine day 1. Day 2, a little bit of a headache, kind of dragged down and tired. And by day 3, I felt really good. And from there, I was able to kind of realize that, okay, if it might work out for me. So, with the help of the coach that I had, his name is Josh. He was just a good guy. And he's really good about saying, you can have a beer once in a while. It's not going to kill you. It's not, and if you fall off track and you slip up, he's like, don't be afraid to start over from that point on, because he's like, so many people will say, oh, I blew my diet this weekend. I might as well just blow it all weekend and start again on Monday. He's like, no, get right back after it. And I thought that was good advice, because there's always going to be a time where, a slice of pizza is in front of you and you can't resist it. And it's not that you can't eat it. You just have to manage it properly and not eat 3, 4 of them instead.
Yeah. I think that's important to know too, because we're human and we have temptations of food, or you have events in your life that revolve around food, and you want to be able to partake in that and not be the person who's like, the TJ's over there having a water, poor TJ. You
Yeah.
want to be part of the festivities that everyone else is part of, and you need to learn how to be able to do that. And then, okay, well, what do I do the next day to make sure I'm staying on track? Um, just to clarify something, you had said March 2020 is when you really thought, okay, I need this. And then you said you started Labor Day, which is early September. What
Yeah.
happened between March and September?
Well, we were working from home. We were coming in here. I was new to this position, so I was really kind of focused on learning the new things I needed to know here. And I would come into work. It started slow with me, like I mentioned, it's a mile and a half from my house to the radio station. So, I would walk to work, do what I needed to do, walk back home. It was sort of a slow progress of getting myself back into an exercise routine, but I wasn't really doing anything about the diet, so the weight wasn't necessarily coming off. So when I did exercise, I was still pretty sore or had a lot of aches and pains. And I thought, man, if I could just drop like 45 pounds, I'm sure I would be, I'd be right back where I was when I was training for marathons and half marathons, and get back in the gym and put on some more muscle and burn some calories. So yeah, I did. I kind of went all through the summer. I didn't eat. It wasn't the spring break mentality that I had when they first sent us home for the 2 weeks, but I didn't get on board with Profile until September.
So you're
Beginning.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Sounds
Kind of
like.
kind of
Okay.
that whole no man's land where I'm like, am I going to do this? Do I want to do this? Do I dare have someone hold me accountable? Because if I do, then I got to be fully committed. And it wasn't really until I got to the end of the summer that I'm like, all right, I'm fully committed. Let's go.
And how glad are you that you made that decision?
Oh, so glad. I mean, everything from, learning new ways to eat, and I have a tough time with vegetables. And it's not that I don't like them, it's just taking the time to prepare them.
Yeah.
There's only a couple that I enjoy to eat raw, so you have to roast them or whatever you're going to do to eat them. And learning to work those into my diet regularly has given me a lot more energy. I feel a lot better. Losing the weight has allowed me to exercise more. My sleep has been a lot better. You get into these new patterns and new routines where you start to feel guilty if you don't exercise or you don't eat, the proper amount of veggies compared to whatever else it is you have on your plate, your proteins and things like that. So learning to do that has helped me greatly, and having a good support group like my coach at Profile and my wife, who's been awesome. She was all on board with, what can I make with rice cauliflower today, and we've learned to find ways to enjoy that. My kids were not as excited about it. They'd walk up from the basement and be like, smells like cauliflower again. But, but we found great ways to utilize that. And mixing the vegetables in there has been important, and going with lean meats and cutting out the carbs. And, it's
how's your stomach feeling?
I haven't had any problems with it since that time when I was on the telehealth with the doctor. So thankfully, because holy cow, I literally thought I was dying. I was up all night long, just couldn't sleep. I'm like, I've never felt anything like this before. It hurts so bad. And he's like, that's acid reflux. I'm like, that's not what I thought acid reflux was going to feel like.
Wow.
So hopefully I never have that again.
Yeah, I'm glad you're past that.
Yeah.
You had mentioned to me off air that you have two kids, one of which is graduating from high school or just graduated from high school, your daughter. So 18 and 14 are the ages of your kids, a boy and a girl, then a boy. But your daughter, having graduated from high school, means graduation party, which you've not yet had as of the recording of this podcast, correct?
Yeah, it is in, what's today, Wednesday? It's in 3 days.
Okay. So,
Nacho bar.
Okay, well, that's going to be my question, because regardless of when it is, or if people are listening later and it's already happened, just the anticipation of that's exactly the kind of thing I was talking about. It's an event that you want to be part of. And food is a big part of something like a graduation party, a wedding, a reunion, all of those kinds of things. So when you're thinking about this and in your mind thinking about the food that's going to be there and you wanting to be part of this, how much have you played out like, oh, I better go easy, or I better be good leading up to that day, go wild on that day, recover the next? Or what is your sort of plan to be able to celebrate with your daughter the way everyone else is going to celebrate?
It's a hectic week leading up to the party, and so I've been real diligent about making sure I get my workouts in, whether it's going for a run or getting to the gym and working out. I don't want to skip a day, so I've moved some things around to make sure I have those workouts in. I've been really good about my diet leading up to it, planning is a huge part of that, you know, like when it comes to your lunch at work that you bring with you every day instead of running down the road to the restaurant or whatever. It's a well thought out, planned portion of maybe leftovers from the night before, and I'm doing that. And you're right. On the day of the graduation, I'm gonna have some nachos, Marnie. I'm gonna eat some nachos. I'm not gonna eat all the nachos, and I'll try to eat them at a time that's a meal time instead of all day long. But I'm going to, just like everyone else, hopefully that comes to the party, I'm going to celebrate. And when it comes to Saturday night, when the party's over, right back to my old routine. Not my old routine, but my current new routine, I guess, with Profile.
My favorite bar food is nachos. And so, TJ, if you told me you were having a nacho bar and not participating in the nacho bar, I would be just devastated.
Yeah.
I'd be
come on down. We've got like 5 pounds of ground beef.
And all the cheese.
And all the nacho cheese. Yeah, we've got crock pots galore.
So as you continue on whatever it is your goal is with Profile, how do you see it playing out in a year, 5 year, 10 years? Do you have an end game? Do you have this is now part of my life from here on? How does it work in your future?
I'm hoping that the things that I've learned from Profile, I'm able to kind of stick with it. I'm still on the plan. I had a year contract, so I still meet once a month with my coach, Josh. He knows that I've run, prior to gaining weight back, I've run 3 marathons before, 1 in Mankato and 2 up at Grandma's in Duluth. And I'd love to do 1 more. I'm not an odd number kind of guy, so I feel like I got to at least end on an even number. Maybe do 1 more, maybe with my daughter, because she's going to college in Duluth. If she gets around to wanting to do that, that would be a lot of fun. And he's all about, you know, he's like, when it comes time to train, let me know, because I can adjust your plan and let you know what you should be eating and what you shouldn't be eating. And because he knows that the plan I'm on now isn't going to give me enough nutrition to sustain the higher end of the training program.
Right. Yep.
So I really enjoy that. And I have to probably plan to run some sort of race, whether it's a half or a full, before my contract is up with Profile in that year, unless I want to extend it, because he's willing to help me with that. And I need that knowledge from him, because I don't know. I've trained before, but I just ate whatever I wanted, because you're running miles and miles and miles a week. I want to make sure I do it right this time.
Yeah, that's a big deal too, to know that you have that in your back pocket to go, I can turn into the training anytime and know these are my carbs, these are my veggies, this is my calorie intake, and I'm going to be healthy and safe. Yeah, that's good. Well, good luck, TJ. I don't know if you're going to run it, but I kind of feel like you are going to run it.
So.
And you're
going to don't fall apart.
You ain't going to fall apart. Palesotti, congratulations.
Thank you.
I like how just like smooth and easy you are, and how it seems like that's your life too, because you have it figured out. You have everything kind of structured and like, this works for me. I'm feeling good. So let's ride.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right, TJ, take care. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And that is TJ Palesotti. And we thank you for listening. And for those of you who watched, we thank you for joining us on another episode of Profiles in Health and Wellness.